My name is Byron Au Yong. I'm a composer. I think I secretly enjoy performing, which is probably a curse from having done musical theater since I was a kid. It was my first job, 8 shows a week, doing The King and I. And then the theater hired me to do South Pacific as well. I started composing when I was 11. I would play the piano and then I started writing because I thought, oh, well, what if this happened? When I was studying music in college, I was really interested in early European music. I was asked to do an arrangement. So I did, and I added cymbals and drums, and the teacher said, "The devil's instruments, take those out." And so I was like, oh my goodness, okay, so I took those out. And then I thought, wow, that's really interesting. In Asia, that's the last thing you take out. If you're gonna pare down an ensemble, it's gonna be a singer and a drummer. So I started to listen to and study more Asian music. I use singing and drumming as the basis of my music. And these are things that can also be carried with me or carried with any performer. And so that kind of is the crux of, I think, who I am, coming from grandparents who fled China and then parents who immigrated to the United States, and then me having moved around the country. It's all very much about migration, and so I'm really interested in portable music. The 64 bottled operas performed in different waterways was that attempt to think, oh, okay, it's a post-apocalyptic scenario, if you will. Let's say an opera singer who doesn't have an opera house anymore, and a percussionist who doesn't have their drums. They meet somewhere, and there's water, and they can perform. One of the ways that people survive is through performance. It is through opera, as odd as it may sound. I have a television and internet-free home because there's so much else for me to do in terms of playing drums, writing, reading, and also I feel that because I'm so fascinated with the media that I would spend all my time watching. Stuck Elevator was prompted by a story of Ming Huang Chen, who is an undocumented immigrant who was delivering Chinese takeout in New York. And in April 2005, he got trapped in an elevator for 81 hours. I was reading articles, and he's from Fujian province, where my grandparents were from. And then they said he had to pay $60,000 to be smuggled to the United States. And I thought, wow, that's how much I'm paying for grad school. If my grandparents hadn't left, I could potentially be Ming Huang Chen. Hi, Paul. How's it going? So I thought, wow, okay, let's do an opera about this. Because it's so much more. It's about being trapped in America, right? It's Stuck Elevator, but it's being trapped between the American dream or you plunge into an empty abyss. People, do you hear me? If I had your food, you would hear me. If I were your food, you would hear me. Opera deals with such gigantic, mythic emotions, passions, relationships between people, and it's those places I'm really, really fascinated to get into, to stir up, to complicate. And opera allows me to do that.